Hey guys, so I thought we would do a get ready with me. I'm going out to lunch with friends. We're going to eat chaka, which is apparently a traditional Vietnamese fish dish. So as a pescatarian, I am so excited. But I only have 30 minutes, so let's get started. My first few months here, I was a homebody on purpose and I loved it. You know, like many people, having worked especially the past 5 years, grinding, at one point multiple jobs, working my way up that ladder, like in America. I was so just excited and happy to have all this time to work on my own personal projects. I had never had this much time before to just experiment and do all the things I've always wanted to do, with my personal projects. So I was like, how many times will you ever have this time again, I feel like I should have used a beauty blender, whatever. I don't have a beauty blender. We'll work with it. It looks better on camera than in person. So going from literally 200 miles per hour in America to going to negative 200 here, that's also not necessarily the best thing. I think coming out of that is where you maybe find your equilibrium, your balance. But it's nice to have both perspectives, I guess, what maybe my balance could look like in the future. And in this time to myself, those few months, I learned so much about myself, the way I am as a creative and why I've never been able to accomplish things. And it was I was able to see it so clearly for the first time. Without all the noise, I could see my tendencies. When I'm having such a fun time creating something and I'm in a flow state and it's going well and I feel inspired and creative, I'll spend 10 plus straight hours working on something, and it's great and it's amazing. But when I'm frustrated with something and when something's not going right, I will force myself and push myself to just figure it out, spend 10 plus hours on something when really I should maybe be stepping back and taking a minute to taking a break, taking an hour to reset and come back with a new perspective. I'm obsessive in that way. My perfectionism, my attention to detail is obsessive. And so it helped me see why I've never been able to accomplish things creatively, because I could never even just get the first thing done. I would rip the first thing to pieces because of perfectionism. And I started to realize the things that were comforting me during those times, the media I would consume, the YouTubers, the vloggers, the podcasts, the celebrities. I've always been a fangirl. The artists, the musicians, I've always been a fangirl of anything pop culture. And it started to sink in, settle in during that time, that the things that were giving me comfort, even books, any sort of media, pop culture, things that have brought me comfort throughout my whole life, those things are also not perfect. It sounds so obvious, but it's every artist, every creative is sacrificing some amount of perfectionism to get their work out there. And the first versions of the things they put out are just gonna be what they are gonna be. And they just let go of it. The taste that you see inside, the taste that as an artist you have, when something's good or not. And I could never get that first thing out there because I would look at my work and I'd be like, this sucks. So I could never get that first thing out there. But it's something clicked in me where I was just but in order to get to the level that I know I'm capable of, it's inevitable. You have to get the first thing out. And then eventually, once you keep doing it, you get to the level you know you're capable of. You eventually catch up to yourself. I don't know. I guess that's just my interpretation, or how I think of it at least. Being in a new country and going out and exploring, I guess I just really needed that time, because I've always all I've ever wanted to do is create, right? And I've spent so much time following everything by the book, in my whole, just everything by the book, tricking myself into thinking that doing something creative with my career when really it was just following the book. I've been bronzing for too long because I'm distracted. Oh my God, okay. So yeah, I've been talking about that topic too much, I'm sorry, but I'll move on. But anyway, yeah, that's how I spent my first few months. After those first few months, I started doing the CELTA, the Cambridge CELTA, which is the certificate to teach English as a foreign language. It's one of the most renowned, is that a word? It's one of the most worldwide recognized certificates. It's one of the best, one of the most expensive, one of the most best. And it's a great certificate to have. You can teach anywhere in the world. But yeah, so I did that course, and that was like my first time kind of branching out into the real world, like, so I met a lot of friends there, which was awesome. Like a lot of Vietnamese friends, a lot of friends just from like around the world, which was so cool. Like it was class Monday through Friday, like a full 8 hours, plus, you know, all the homework. It was a high intensity course for sure. So yeah, it definitely gave me a different perspective of Vietnam. Like when I first got here, the only people I was hanging out with were like, I met a few Vietnamese friends, like they did not speak any English. So I was hanging out with them a little bit, which was super fun. But that gave me like one perspective. And then meeting them, like they speak English, that gave me like a whole different perspective, right? Like, oh, should I do eyeshadow? I have like no time. Yeah, that gave me another, I'm going out of order. Oh gosh, okay. I didn't know there would be color in this. This is so cute. It's tinted. I didn't even read that it's tinted. This is so cute, you guys. This is so cute. This is like my new favorite thing. Oh my gosh. Wow, okay, that's super cute. Florence tinted lip oil, so cute. So like, I thought it was just a lip oil for my prep or something. And yeah, I feel like I've definitely made some mistakes observing something and then overgeneralizing, thinking like noticing something about Vietnam and then thinking that everything in Vietnam is like that. But I just, you know, I didn't know, like I didn't realize, like, and so meeting those Vietnamese friends gave me one perspective, and then once I did the CELTA, it gave me a new perspective on Vietnam. And so I felt embarrassed a little bit, like looking back, and it just like, you know, it taught me a lot. Like it was just like, oh, so and I can't be like, you know, I guess that's just part of the learning experience, like moving to a new place, a new country. Like you can't be like hard on yourself, I guess. Like that was like kind of a realization for me. My Vietnamese friends who don't speak English at all, we went to a club and they didn't know who Taylor Swift was. Like they didn't know like any of the big American musicians. But then I go to CELTA and there are also Vietnamese. They speak English, but you know, like they love Taylor Swift, like the biggest Taylor Swift fan. And so like, yeah, that made me realize like, oh, like I overgeneralized that, like, you know, and so I felt like, oh, I got a job so I finished CELTA, I graduated. My certificate's actually just arrived at the school. They don't mail it, you just have to go pick it up at a school. Hilarious. But yeah, so I have to go pick up my certificate. That's a whole other video. Wait for that vlog because it's wild. It was intense. Yes, I finished the CELTA, I have my certificate waiting. And my new job, teaching English to little kids, starts in January. Yeah, I thought I would just be here for like 3 months and then go back to America, but I was like, oh, looks like I'm staying. I'm really excited. Like, I think I haven't even scratched the surface for just all the things that you can do here in Vietnam. Like, I'm lucky enough to be in one of the most amazing countries in the world. Like, the place that, you know, is like amazing for fashion, which I studied fashion in college. My like kind of niche in fashion was like 3D printing. So like, and there's literally like the US Embassy has a whole 3D printing center here. So I was like, are you kidding? Like the country I moved to has a 3D printing center? Like what? Like what are the odds? Like you can't make that up. Like that's just nuts. Like one of the coolest places to live, I think. Like, and just, you know, you can get so much like custom stuff here. Like literally like, I've been looking at custom leather stores to get custom leather passports done. And I've literally, like I made a whole mock-up of like a custom leather passport that has like an AirTag holder. It's a gift, so it's gonna be able to hold 2 passports and an AirTag, and it's gonna be like a cute color, engraved, all the things. And I made a mock-up in Illustrator and it looks so cute. And I've been literally going back and forth with leather shops to get it made. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I literally have not even scratched the surface just as like a person who loves design, who loves creating stuff. Like this is the place to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of all the things I can do here. Like, and I'm sure I don't even know half the things I can do here. Like, I've barely been, like I'm just starting to go outside into the wild. Like, you know, like today apparently we're going to like a a pen store. Like this store just specializes in pens, which is wild because like, and I believe it because, you know, right down the street, there's like whole streets of just lamps, whole streets of just, you know, just streets that specialize in one thing. So a whole street that specializes in chairs. In America, you know how they don't want two businesses that are too similar to each other to be next to each other. There's like a certain distance between them that they have. That would be ridiculous. You won't see like two, yeah, I can't think of a better example. You won't see like two IKEAs next to each other. Whereas here, there's like 20 chair stores right next to each other. Like, you know, like there's whole streets dedicated to one thing. All the people who specialize in that one thing just were like, we're all gonna go to this one street and sell that one thing. Which is so cool. So yeah, there's freaking Chair Street, there's freaking Lamp Street, there's freaking Tool Street, like all the things. They're not actually called that, I don't think, but like that's how I know them as. Yeah, I think another thing that like was weird was like I went through this period when I first moved here, like the first few months where like I weirdly like got like a intense sense of American pride. like I don't know why. Like I started to like American things even harder than I usually do. Like American songs that in America I didn't like, I like here. No, this is still happening. This is actually still happening. Like I swear, like I was literally telling my friend this, like songs that I get annoyed by in America, I love here. Like an overplayed song in America, when I hear it here, I'm like, oh, America, I love America. You hear like an overplayed, yeah, any overplayed song in America, I hear it here and I'm like, so sentimental, like, but maybe that's just me evolving as a human and like just appreciating just everything more, like not being so like annoying and like, you know, just not being so like, what do you call it? Not being so annoying and not being so an art snob. like, you know, I feel like, because I wasn't always an art snob, like I think I'm getting back to that, like, you know, little kid Jasmine that was just lover of all things pop culture, fangirl, lover of all things art. Like I think that's just where I'm getting back to. I think so yeah, I think that's just part of it. Like but yeah, because it's like, it's funny, like, and sometimes it surprises me, like I'll hear a song like when Ariana Grande's new album came out, like earlier this year, I immediately heard it at Highlands coffee shop playing and I was like, go Highlands, that's so cool. But then other than that, I have not really heard anything be current. Like I hear mostly like songs from like that were popular like 8 years ago in America. American songs that were popular 8 years ago playing here. Like, and I'm not mad at it. It's fun for me because that's when I was like in high school, like, or graduating high school, starting college. So it's fun. Like, it's nostalgic. It's fun. Like, so yeah, it's cool. And then like, yeah, Vietnamese music has that certain, just has that sound to it, you know? Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it has that sound. And maybe that's just because I'm still learning it. Like, I'm still learning the artists and stuff. But as someone who's still learning about the world of Vietnamese music, it just has that sound. When I hear it, I'm like, that's Vietnamese music. It's cool. I have a playlist on my phone, so I'm slowly adding music to it. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm in the US Embassy and like I see a picture, this weird sense of American pride I've never felt before. Like, and I still feel that way. I've always been like interested in politics. The election season, like that's nonstop what's playing on my YouTube. I'm just very like fascinated by politics. I love like listening to it all the time. It's funny how like being away from your home makes you feel a sense of pride and like that you've never felt before. And it's sad. I know all the things that people are struggling with. But yeah, I don't know, like culture shock, like, I have to have been going through that. Like, I don't think I think my culture shock, I don't think I've noticed it too much because I'm more culture shocked by living with my parents again after like 5+ years. Like, so I think that's like overpowered or overshadowed any culture shock. But I'm so lucky to live with my parents, and it's like been very fun. I think I'm going to change and then head out. Okay, gotta go.